Good evening and a very warm welcome to you wherever you may be. It's episode 40 of the Oz Cro Soccer Show, and my name is Tonchi Prusats. Very, very pleasured and very happy to be here tonight for more reasons than one. Obviously, each week we deliver all the latest news and views of what's happening around the Croatian communities here in Australia and in Croatia, but also it's an opportunity to sing happy birthday to the one and only Ante Grabovac, my co-host. Ante Grabovac, how are you? And a happy 21st birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. How are you, mate?
Thank you. Very
21.
well, Tonchi. Thank you so much. Yes, 21 plus a few more extra years on top of that. But yeah, thank you to everyone who reached out and said happy birthday. And it's been a good week so far. So let's hope tonight's a great night as well, which I'm sure it will be because we've got a very, very special guest on.
We have. It's an action-packed show tonight. We've got heaps and heaps of stuff to talk about, but a very special guest, Canberra Croatia President Tony Vidovich, who is going to be joining us a little bit later on in the show. His side booked a spot into the last 32, the national phase of the Australia Cup over the weekend, so we'll be chatting to him. There's a lot to talk about up in Canberra. They are wanting to be a part of the national second division. We'll find out all about their plans and where that stands at the moment. And look, after last week, Ante, when we had the pleasure of Gold Coast Knights president Adrian Pulic joining us, it's great to now have another president of another club outside of the Sydney, Melbourne areas that we often cover, and obviously have the high-profile clubs. But good to get around the country a little bit and find out what's going on.
Absolutely, yeah. It's good to see what Canberra Croatia are up to. I'm really looking forward to the conversation with Tony later on in the show.
Yeah. Now, Ante, we were also going to have Jure Danona, the president of Guelph, Croatia, coming on board today. And everything was signed, sealed, delivered. Everything was going to be happening. Yep, ready to go. But in about half an hour's time, our time, 6:30 p.m. their time over in Perth, they are actually fronting a Football West tribunal. So we're hoping to get some information out of that. Obviously not tonight, but that was stemmed from the crowd troubles against the old foe, Dianella White Eagles. And we'll find out, well, hopefully by next week we might even get Jure or someone from Guelph, Croatia on. They had a very eventful game last night against another old rival over there in the West, Cockburn City. I better pronounce that correctly. It was part of the Australia Cup ties, and there was a couple of there's another Croatian team involved in that. We'll find out all about that later in the news desk. But there's a lot happening in Croatia as well. Got the UEFA Nations League coming up very, very shortly. We've got promotion playoffs in the lower tier competitions of the Hrvatska Nogometna Liga. We've got news about a new stadium in Zagreb as well. That's just sort of come to light in the last half hour or so. I mean, it's been talked about for so long, and it'll continue to be talked about it. But finally, there looks like to be movement on the I won't call it the construction of a new stadium, rather the renovation of an existing one. But we'll find out more about that in the news desk. So, Auntie, you're going to scurry along and get yourself ready, and we're, folks, going to have a very, very short break. And when we do return, it is time for the news desk with Auntie and myself. Don't go away, folks. Be back.
Stay there.
Yeah.
Welcome to Slavicek Studio Architecture. Our approach combines modern design with harmonious solutions tailored to your unique needs. We listen closely to your vision and turn it into a functional, beautiful living environment that truly feels like home. Our designs cater to your needs and evolve with you over time, encouraging deeper connections with family and friends. Specializing in custom residential homes and boutique apartments, we balance luxury and comfort to create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Discover a world of inviting and captivating design at www.slavicekstudio.com.au. Contact us for a journey from idea to reality. Slavicek Studio Architecture, turning your dreams into reality.
Yes, and welcome to the news desk for another week. And let's kick it off with none other than the midweek glory that is the Australia Cup. Torch, you're going straight to some footage.
Yeah, there's some footage there from last night's game between St Albans Dynamo and Heidelberg at Olympic Village. Unfortunately, there's a great goal there from Michael Grgic. That was the equaliser, and wait for the second goal as well. That was equally spectacular. But Ante, tell us what went down.
Yeah, St Albans went down 1-0, and then they came back to 1-1 with that spectacular goal. And then this is the second goal in the 88th minute, which was an absolute stunner, which took the match into extra time. And unfortunately, in extra time, St Albans couldn't maintain the rage, and they went down by 3-2 against Heidelberg. And yeah, I was hoping at least we'd push for penalties, but unfortunately, we conceded a goal very, very late in the piece in extra time, and it was too hard to come back. Here it is, off the head of the defender and the goal. Yeah. Anyway, Probably don't want to see that one again. Yeah.
No, definitely not. Mo Zwed, by the way, was the scorer of that second goal. Spectacular effort. Heidelberg United celebrated their 65th anniversary over the weekend, but who cares? Who cares? We had a Croatian team knocked out of the Australia Cup, unfortunately. St Albans did very well, though, to get themselves back in the game twice and just couldn't get through. And it's just been a bit of a horror season there. At Churchill Reserve. I guess the good thing about this now, Ante, is they can now totally focus on the league itself, and we'll talk a bit about the league a bit later on, but getting back to the Australia Cup, mate.
Yeah, also last night, Coburn or Cockburn, however you want to pronounce it, they were winners, unfortunately, against Guelph Croatia. So Guelph Croatia will no longer have any part in the Australia Cup for 2023. Guelph got a red card, and then very late in the piece, Coburn scored the winner. So Guelph are out as well. But on the weekend, it was fantastic festivities on Saturday in Canberra, and we can't wait to talk to Tony Vidovich about this particular match where Canberra Croatia reached the round of 32 with a huge 4-2 victory over Canberra Olympic. So that was really, really exciting stuff. So teams still in the Australia Cup, we've got Canberra Croatia and Sydney United already qualified for the round of 32. And then we have Melbourne Knights next Thursday. I mean, if Yarraville do defeat the Knights, it's going to be the upset of all history of Australia Cup.
Tuesday. Did you say
Thursday? I don't know what I said. I'm still
old age, mate. Old age. It's senility starting to creep in. It's Tuesday, next Tuesday.
That's right. Tuesday, the 13th of June, which of course is Sveti Ante, so another reason to celebrate. So hopefully we will have Melbourne Knights winning that particular fixture. And to be announced, as we mentioned, our special guest last week, Adrian Puljic was a fantastic guest, and they have got an encounter, and hopefully they will make it into the round of 32. And of course, these are the 4 clubs that have applied for the second division as well. So it'd be amazing if they actually make it into the Australia Cup. Yeah. So that'd be fantastic. And another, reason to put them through into the second division as well.
Yeah, Melbourne Knights, come on, you got to make
fingers crossed.
Got to make it 4 out of 4,
That's right.
or 4 out of at least that. And newsflash, I've got the absolute pleasure that I will be co-commentating that game along with Steve Curtin, my sidekick from the Football Out West show, which is one of our sister podcasts. So, if you can't get there, if you're in Melbourne or Geelong or thereabouts, make sure you get to the ground. But if you can't get there and you're from interstate, do tune into Australia Cup on YouTube, I think it is, and on Facebook, and I believe it may also be on the NPL.TV app. So that game again at 7:30 p.m. next week against Yarraville FC. They are the sister club. Speaking of sister things, they are the sister club of our great rivals, South Melbourne Hellas. So let's we'll talk about that a bit later on, but we weren't able to get up over South Melbourne last week. But maybe we can exact a little bit of revenge on their sister club next Tuesday night at Knight Stadium.
Yes. And of course, former South Melbourne coach is actually coaching in the EPL next year. I just cannot believe that. But anyway, we'll talk about that later.
Good on him. Good on him, I say. I reckon.
Yeah, good on him. It's just unbelievable. But anyway, well done. And in New South Wales, because Sydney United made the top 4, we then splinter off into the Waratah Cup, which is the State Cup. And so that fixture against Inter Lions, can't believe Inter Lions are in the top 4, but well done to them. Daniel Drojewski, if you remember him from A-League, he plays for Inter Lions and apparently was very instrumental in defeating Rockdale last week. So he scored a goal and an assist. And so next Wednesday night, Sydney United have to beat Inter Lions. And if they do beat them and get into the final, they will be, and actually win the final, they will be the most successful club in the history of New South Wales football there. As you can see, they've won the Waratah Cup on 6 occasions, starting in 1974, and they've been runners-up on 4 occasions, including last year, unfortunately, losing to Spirit FC. So magnificent effort from Sydney United there. And, hopefully they can get another trophy in the cabinet this year.
Absolutely.
Moving on to the
league. All right, let's move north of the border.
Let's move on to the leagues. So we've muddled things up a little bit because what we're doing now is actually looking at what the biggest results of the weekend were, and you can't get bigger than first versus second. And Gold Coast Knights ended up victors, and there was a last-minute penalty as well that the Knights were able to save. So there they are on top of the table. Fantastic stuff. Go Gold Coast Knights. And this Sunday, they are playing Eastern Suburbs at 5:30 p.m. at home. So get on out and support them. Also, equally huge victory on the weekend was Adelaide, Croatia, with a big 3-1 victory over the Blue Eagles. And the Blue Eagles were third. So this was first versus third. And Adelaide, Croatia are there sitting on top and now by 3 points. So hopefully they can maintain the rage and get promoted. And, of course, a huge year this year because they're hosting the Crow Tourney this year. And this Saturday, they are away to Para Hill Knights at the Paddocks. I'd love to go visit the Paddocks. That sounds like a great place to visit.
I'm sure it is.
Moving over to
another Croatian club on top. Yes.
Absolutely. Well done.
Love
this
it.
is exciting stuff. Western Knights had a huge 3-2 victory over Mandurah City. Again, a top of the table clash. And the Knights have 3 points on top over Fremantle City, who are 3 points behind. And Gwelup, they had a massive 4-0 win over Rockingham City, and so that brings them up into 6th position. So, well done to both Croatian teams over in WA. And this weekend, both teams are away on Saturday afternoon. And Crazy Domain Stadium is another stadium I'd love to go visit one day, let me tell you. Moving over to... Yes.
First of all, can I just thank Gold Coast Knights, Western Knights and Adelaide Raiders for providing you with a very, very good birthday present by being on top of the competition standing. So well done to those 3 table-topping clubs. Good on you.
Incredible. And the news gets even better, Taunchy, because in the South Coast United won by 2-1 against the previously undefeated Albion Park White Eagles. So this is a huge result down in Wollongong. So very well done to everyone at South Coast United. Goals by Trebincevic in the 15th and Brodnik in the 54th. And that will spur the team on for a big second half of the season. And this weekend, they are away on Sunday afternoon against the Cringilla Lions. So So good luck there. And there's good Budek across the road, actually, from the Cringula, from Crayon Park. So go get some
Is
before
that right?
the
There you go. That's a stadium I would like to go visit.
game. What? So once you already took you to Brandon Park when you were in Sydney, so we'll have to do another one.
Yeah, now more birthday presents for our man Ante Grabovac, this time provided by your club Sydney United against the table-topping Apia Leichhardt. Tell us more.
Well, I mentioned last week that we've struggled to score goals, and what happens? Our two strikers both score a fantastic late winner by Payne, and then Antelmi scored in the 34th minute as well. And yeah, Sydney United defeated the first place Apia Leichhardt. It was Apia's first home loss of the season and only their second loss of the season. So that was a fantastic result after 3 losses in a row for United in the league. And this Saturday, so the game has been moved to Saturday evening, 5 p.m. kickoff against the Western Sydney Wanderers at Sydney United Sports Centre. So let's hope the boys can continue that particular good form against Apia with another win against the Wanderers.
Is that because of the Waratah Cup that it's been moved forward, Ante? Is that right?
I'd say that is another reason. Plus, it's a long weekend, so all of those sorts of things together. So, yeah, who knows what else is happening in the background there. In Tasmania, another huge result. Glenorchy Knights are sitting second with a big 1-0 victory. And look at that, in the 92nd minute, the goal was actually scored. So great news for Glenorchy. And they are away this Saturday afternoon at Windsor Community Precinct. So go and support them against Riverside Olympic.
Another Croatian club on top.
Top of the table, 4-2, big win by Brisbane Knights, and that keeps them up the top. So well done. Look at that in the losses columns. That's 0. So that's 12 straight wins for Brisbane Knights. So let's hope that they do get promoted into a higher league next year. And Saturday, June 10, they are away at Compton Park. So go out if you are in Brisbane and support the boys.
Yeah.
Hersel Zagreb, yes. New South Wales, back to New South Wales. And Zagreb had a 0-0 draw against the Inner West Hawks. Again, Inner West Hawks are hard to break down, particularly since their new coach has come in. And Zagreb got the point. So that's their 3rd draw in 5 matches. Hopefully they can start springing, and the second 0-0 draw in a row. So let's hope they can start springing a few wins there. But Zagreb sitting mid-table and are away to Prospect on Saturday night at William Lawson Park. That's one ground I've never been to, so I'm looking forward to going to William Lawson Park this weekend.
There we go. And into Victoria, first of all, let's go to NPL 2, and then we'll work our way up to NPL 1, aren't we?
Taunchy, yeah, I left these guys at the bottom because every single club let me down on the weekend. I wanted victories, and every single Croatian club, disappointing weekend. Preston Lions ended up 2 winners over Dandy, and so Dandy are currently sitting 4th, and this weekend they are at home on Friday night against Werribee, so get on out and support the Dandenong City team.
What a close division this one is. Sorry, Ante, sorry to cut you off. What a close division this one is. Had Dandenong City beaten Preston Lions, Dandenong City would have in fact been on top of the competition standings. They come up against Werribee City, Werribee City team that's just so volatile. They've been getting good results, bad results, conceding goals last minute, scoring goals last minute. So this is going to be a real cliffhanger, this one. But look, I mean, if you kind of look at the competition standings, 7 points separates 1st and 8th, and all it takes is just a couple of good games, a series of good games, and geez, you're firing up the top competition standings. But look, this is just an unfortunate result, but life goes on. But talking about unfortunate results, oh my goodness me, NPL 1, to tell us more.
Yeah, I will do. And that NPL 1, look at that sad state of affairs in every match. Unfortunately, the Knights were 2-1 winners at 2-1 losers against South Melbourne. And then St. Albans lost 3-0 to Heidelberg. And then Altona defeated North Geelong by 5-0. So St. Albans played Heidelberg twice this week. So there you go. At the moment, the Knights sitting in 4th position, 9 points off 1st, which are Avondale and South Melbourne. And then you've got St. Albans in 11th spot, and coming up in the rear with 4 losses in a row is North Geelong, unfortunately. And the only home team this weekend are St Albans, who are playing on Sunday afternoon against Hume City. So get on out and support them. The Knights are away to Bentley Greens, and North Geelong are away to the first place to Avondale. So that's going to be a tall order for North Geelong. But, they could do South Coast United and spring an upset. Who knows?
You never know. Although Avondale at the moment are just an absolutely insane machine, and coached by former Melbourne Knights star Zoran Markovski. They really are a difficult side. All right, up to the Hunter Valley and Newcastle, Croatia. They also had a little bit of a negative result, aren't they?
Yeah, Carl, what's going on there? Let us know, Carl Zivkovic. Okay, yeah, they had a 1-0 loss, unfortunately, and they're sitting in third spot. And they are away again this weekend, this Sunday at 2:30 p.m. at Cook Park.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, at Capital Football, because they had the weekend off for the Australia Cup with a glorious victory by Canberra Croatia. Of course, we'll be talking to Tony Vidovich a bit later on. But currently, Canberra is sitting 6th in an 8-team competition, and O'Connor are sitting 4th. And this weekend, they are both at home. Canberra Croatia on the Sunday, and O'Connor Knights on the Saturday. So, hey, that gives everyone in Canberra the opportunity to go and watch both games on a long weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, last week when we had Adrian Pulic on the show, he mentioned a fact, an interesting fact about a little-known club that, quite frankly, not many of us even knew about. But Matthew Govorko, who's reached out to us during the week, he's put up something there, and we're going to definitely give a little bit of a shout-out. Any chance for a shout-out for the Stratford Dolphins Football Club gala dinner on Friday? It's a sellout. Previously known as Plavi Jadran or Blue Adriatic. It was a club that had dubious histories or past or whatever, but it has been resuscitated by, as Adrian told us last week, true blue good Croatians. And it's a club that has lasted the test of time for many, many years. And they've got a reunion dinner. And these days, all sorts of nationalities are involved. But they've paid homage to their Croatian heritage and to a lot of the people that have been involved with the club over the years. And they've even got on their top, they've got it like a Croatian, the country of Croatia, like I guess what's the word? Designed as part of their kit. Plus, they've also got the red and white checkers on the sleeve. So, yeah, big shout out to the Stratford Dolphins, previously known as Plavi Jadran. Hopefully, we might be able to get someone from that club on the show in future episodes. But speaking of the past, Ante, on this day 30 years ago, something very, very, very significant happened. Tell us more.
Yeah, absolutely. 25 years ago, it was 1998, where Croatia played Australia in this very famous match at Maksimir. Of course, it was a preparation match for Croatia before they ended up third in the World Cup in 1998 in France. And Australia were there just for a friendly match. And, yeah, it was an absolute shellacking. I was fortunate enough to be there. But look at that lineup for Croatia. You had Dražen Ladic, you had Mario Stanic, Jarnic, Stimac, Šoldo, Šimić, Asanovic, Prosinečki, Šuker, Boban, and Maric, and that was just a starting lineup. You had, amazing squad members as well, as you can see the others that came on. And for Australia, it wasn't too bad either, but we had Kalac, Muscat, Diamicis, Popovic, Tobin, Babic, Ep10, Craig Foster, Mark Viduka, Josip Škorko, and John Aloisi were the starting lineups. And, of course, the coach for Croatia was a legend who's unfortunately passed away recently, Ciro Blažević, and the coach for Australia was none other than Terry Venables. So, I was actually at this fixture, so you can see some of the photos that I took with my Polaroid camera on the day. There were no iPhones and things back then. And it was really cool.
In the bottom right-hand corner.
Yeah, the days before selfies were cool. I was trying to get a selfie with Boban, but Boban was too busy doing autographs, and I'd run out of film by then. People don't know about that. It's sort of like running out of memory, right, for all the young ones.
Yeah.
And so, but it was cool to be there, yeah. So it was very exciting. Also on this day, 33 years ago, well, actually it was yesterday, just like this game, was yesterday, 33 years ago, was the famous Australia versus Hajduk match at Olympic Park. So that was played in 1990 down at Olympic Park for anyone who remembers that particular fixture. And that was a star-studded lineup for Hajduk as well.
I do remember that. I've got very, very vague recollections of that game as well, in particular.
It was a 2-2 draw, I think.
2-2 draw, I think, from memory or something like that. Yeah, exactly like that. It was a midweek game. It was just the good old days, the old iconic Olympic Park, and we were all on the outer. And, it was just a gathering. It was just a gathering of Australian Croatians. It was just brilliant. Yeah, it was basically like huge. A Croatian disco, but on the other side, we were doing call and singing and dancing and watching knots and carrying on. And
very famous in Hajduk history was the game in Sydney, which was played on the 3rd of June, where of course they took off finally that symbol that they had, and fortunately, it's been gone ever since. So that was a momentous occasion. Everyone was very excited.
That it was. Okay, folks, we're going to take a very, very short break. When we return, we're going to turn our attention to what's happening overseas in Croatia. And there's a lot happening there as well. So don't go away. It is the Oz Cro Soccer Show, episode 40. And a little bit later on after that, we'll be joined by the Canberra Croatia Football Club president, Tony Vidovich, who's got a lot to talk about what is happening in the nation's capital. So, folks, do not go away. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Let's turn our attention straight away to the Prva Nogometna Liga, which is like League One, I guess, if you like, Football League One. The final game was played throughout the region. Jarun defeated Cibalia 2-1. Rudeš at home celebrated their championship and also, obviously, their promotion to next year's Hrvatska Nogometna Liga, the Croatian National League, the premier competition. They did that by losing to second place Vukovar 2-1. And Ante, dare I say, next year Vukovar would have to be the odds-on favourite to win the competition. They'll be raging favourites, dare I say. But also, I think it also gives them a year to now maybe fix their infrastructure. Apparently, they've got an investor. They've got quite a few investors, and they've been investing in the team, in the actual team. Now the next step, like a lot of the situation in Croatia at the moment, is finding the money, finding the finances to start fixing up the stadiums. Yeah, and so hopefully they can do that, because we'll go through the results first of all. BSK from near Osijek, they defeated Dugopolje 3-1. Croatia Zmijavci from near the Imotski region, they defeated Solin 3-0 in a Dalmatian derby. The battle of the Zagreb clubs Kustošija and Dubrava ended up 1-0 for Dubrava. And Orient from near the Rijeka area, it's a suburb of Rijeka actually, they drew 2-2 with the relegated Hrvatski Dragovoljac. So if we have a look at the competition standings, obviously Rudeš have moved. The result of that last game was not important. They'd already secured the championship by the end of the second last round. Vukovar second, Cibalia third. If we turn our attention to the other side or the bottom side of the competition, Hrvatski Dragovoljac, they're relegated and they will now go into League 2. Kustošija, who finished in second last spot, they now go through to the relegation promotion playoffs, however you like. So if we look at League 2, Sesvete, what a result in the last game of the season. They overcame Zrinski Jurjevac in Zrinski, or in Jurjevac, I should say. Jadran Ploče finished in third spot. And then, so Sesvete, they move to the League One competition next year. At the other end of the competition standings, Međimurje, well, they're relegated. Osijek 2 are going to be disbanded. So the last of the Croatian clubs, or the Croatian Premier League clubs, to have a second team or a reserve team, Osijek will formally be disbanded. So they get obviously like relegated. And then Zagorec, which is the third last team, they will now enter the promotion playoffs. So if we look at the state of affairs in the promotion playoffs in the Prva Liga and the Druga Liga. So if we turn our attention back to Football League One, Zrinski Jurjevac, they're the second placed team in the Druga Liga. They will now take on Kustošija Zagreb. So it's a two-legged battle that'll be held over this Saturday and the following Saturday. So Rudeš are the champions. They move up to the elite HNL competition. Relegated from the HNL, we've got Šibenik. They'll be now playing in Football League One. And relegated to the Druga Liga, or League Two, is Hrvatski Dragovoljac. Now, in the Football League Two competition, the teams that are now going to get that are playing for promotion to Football League Two include the following: Zagorec Krapina versus Krk, Slavonia Požega, who will be playing at the iconic stadium of Kamen Ingrad, which is in Velika in Slavonia. They'll be taking on Nogometni klub Radnik from Križevci. And then Zadar, a blast from the past, they will be taking on Karlovac 1919. So that's two former Premier League clubs or First Division clubs. They'll be doing battle against each other. So effectively how this works is three teams get promoted. So the winners of these two competitions, these three ties, they will get promoted to next year's Football League 2. So Sesvete have been promoted, relegated to the fourth tier, Međimurje and Osijek. So that's the state of affairs in the lower divisions of the Croatian League. Now, Ante, there's no such thing as the off-season in Croatia. Already there's been talk about who's signed and who's gone, and Istra Pula have just announced that their Spanish coach, Gonzalo Garcia, has handed in his resignation, so he won't be coaching. Davor Mladina as well, the coach that took Rudeš into the competition, the elite competition, he's received some offers from abroad, so he won't be coaching Rudeš in the next year's HNL. But there is talk that a legendary Vatreni could be coming back to Croatia and could be taking the coaching role. And once you sort of delve into it, who is running the show at Rudeš and who's the football director, and then you think, yep, these are his old buddies, and why not? This would be the perfect vehicle for the one and only Robert Prosinečki to make his coaching debut in the Croatian league. So Veliki Žuti, as he's referred to, we'll see if that is going to be ratified. But apparently the word on the street in Zagreb is that, he has been approached and he's pretty much very close to being signed. So already movement happening in Croatia.
Fantastic player in his time. Speaking about 1998, as we were before, Prosinečki was sensational.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the UEFA Nations League, which is happening very, very shortly. And there's the list of all the squad players, and they are promoting themselves as a family, as a obitelj. And they got together in Rijeka to start their training. Now, unfortunately, the thing that's really happened over there is that a little bit of some bad publicity is happening now because and we'll play this. Marko Livaja, Hajduk Split legend. You either love him or you hate him. If you're a Hajduk Split supporter, you're gonna love him. If you're not a Hajduk Split supporter, so that in that category you put Dinamovci, Riječani, Osječani, everyone else, then you definitely hate him. But this is causing a lot of controversy, and we'll play this footage. That's the end of it. Kako te nije
Yeah,
sram.
there's a
Now, I
rift
don't
in
know
the
if the lady
family,
was,
that's for sure.
I don't know if the lady was aiming that at Levi or aiming it at the guy in the stands who apparently Levi was just subjected to a lot of abuse. Yeah. Now, a stray ball that Levi kicked actually accidentally hit a kid, and that was the catalyst for sections of the crowd to give it to Levi. He's not very well liked at Rijeka, that's for sure. After the game, Levi went up to the kid and his family, and that everything there ended up amicably and what you're not. Zlatko Dalic intervened and got the kid to be looked by the team doctor and all of that kind of stuff. But I think there's the aftermath. There's one talk that now what's happened is Levi is basically walked out on the team. He's wished them all well. He said he definitely wants to be a part of the Croatian team going forward, but all the publicity, all the bad publicity that this incident has caused has cast a shadow over the team's preparations. They're not able to focus, or he's certainly not able to focus. So he's done. Look, like I said, Dinamovci will say one thing, Hajdukovci will say another thing, but as it's being reported, he's done the noble thing of sacrificing himself and he's pulled out so that the Croatian national team can prepare in peace and harmony and what you're not. Ante, what's your take on this? Before I ask what everyone else thinks about this.
What I heard is he was slated to start the match as well. Apparently he was going to be the starting striker. Yep. So that makes things even worse. But yeah, he's unfortunately not, endeared himself to too many fans, particularly playing in that Croatian league. And obviously what he did with grabbing the microphone against Šibenik in the final there and the words he sang. There's talk today about, things he said about Dinamo in the past as well. So, you got to be careful what you say. This incident will not endear him to the public even further. So unfortunately, Marko Livaja will not be playing in these subsequent matches, hopefully in the future, because he's a great player. Obviously, as we saw last week, he led the stats throughout the Croatian league, he's the highest goal scorer, most assists in the league as well. So he's got the ability. I don't think he's actually shown it for the national team as yet. He hasn't impressed me overall, but I think this was his chance to shine, and hopefully we'll get another chance because some players never get another chance. But yeah, I think that he has to learn. I think hopefully has learned his lesson that he needs to behave.
Yeah. I mean, he's a volatile character. There's no doubt about that. He's a polarizing figure in Croatian football. As I said, you either love him or hate him. There's none of that ifs or buts, whatever. But, like this, right, there's the old saying, Hrvatska is not svega. And I think, unfortunately, we are some of the best people, but we're also some of the worst people. And I think sometimes, and this is, I know I'm going to cop flack for this, but I'm going to say it's a very hypocritical situation where, there's been Dinamo players that have said things, there's been Hajduk players that have said things, and you know what? There is that real rivalry bordering on hatred. And you're right, professional footballers, for whatever, they shouldn't be caught singing with fans, mrzim Dinamo, srpsko ime to, or, ubi tovara, ubi or this or that, whatever. And, it's just wrong. But you know what? Hrvatska is not sve. When it comes to the reprezentacija, when it comes to the kockaste, when it comes to the vatreni, you got to put everything aside. You got to put those rivalries. You got to put that hatred aside, because that's what makes us different to every other country. Every other country has got their differences and they have got their regional rivalries. But we're such a small country. We're such a small population, and that's why we bat above our average, because we because of that unity, and the Hrvatski Nogometni Savez, rightly so, is pushing that obitelj thing. And whatever, if it's not Mamić, it's Livaja. If it's not what Modric did, it's what Jako Bušić has done or something like that. There's always some sort of thing that it's like a cancer that finds its way. And who does it? We don't need
the media.
We don't need POMs. We don't need it. We do it to ourselves. It's the media. We do it to ourselves. It's like our worst.
They need it. We'll talk about it I think a few weeks ago. We need a headline. Everyone loves a headline.
Yeah.
And, Sportske Novosti is a newspaper that is very rare around the world. That's a daily sporting newspaper. Plus, you've got all the regional ones on top of that, that need a headline. So they're all competing for each other to get any angle. And so they're tabloids, absolutely. And look, we feed off it as well because we enjoy some of the tracha that happens in some of these tabloids. But yeah, let's hope that they can put all this behind them, or let's hope it's another motivator, because there's a spot here for the European Championships next year on the line if they can overcome Netherlands, and then they can either play against Spain and Italy and hopefully beat them as well.
Oh, I'd love Italy. We've got the wood on the Italians, that's for sure. But the Spain,
never lost.
Yeah,
never lost.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. But look, common sense. There is always some sort of common sense occasionally from our people. And my colleague from last year, Josip Zilic, the memory of Josip still lives on here on the Oz Cro Soccer Show, and he's watching this and he's tuning in. And big shout out to Josip. And this is a great comment. He's really said this well. Wasn't handled well. Absolutely agree. Whatever Livaja does, he's seen as wrong. If he doesn't go to apologise, he's a mug. If he does, he's open to comments. It's true. Not handled well. Unfortunately, our people have that innate ability to give ourselves the worst of ourselves. Yeah, and that's absolutely true.
Well said, Josip.
Yeah.
Well said.
Folks, what do you think? Without going into, calling this one's mum this, or calling that one that, or talking about someone's sexual orientation or any of those kind of things, keep it civil, but let's get a discussion happening in the chat. Aunt is going to laugh now, yeah? It's part of your birthday entertainment, young man. Part of your birthday entertainment.
Yeah, definitely.
We want to hear.
This morning, I did not expect to wake up to Livaja this, Livaja that. It was just all over the news. So, and everyone was messaging each other. It was just massive.
And there we go. Here we go. Talking about Hrvatska iznad svega. Mate Boz says, replying to Josip Zilic, Hrvatska živi vječno. Is that right? Is that what he was meant to say? Hrvatska živi vječno?
That's right. Yes, absolutely.
Now I'm going
Now
I'm going to get all sorts of things being said about me or whatever. But good news. Let's finish it off. Let's finish off the Croatian round off with some good news. And the good news is that, yes, this was announced just about half an hour before we were going to air. Goal.hr has written up an article. Gradi se novi stadion u Zagrebu. Tomašević sve potvrdio. Kapacitet od 12,000. Now, for those of you that can't speak or read Croatian, a new stadium is being built in Zagreb. Tomašević, who's the mayor of Zagreb, has confirmed this. The capacity is going to be 12,000. In reality, that's the Kranjčević Road Stadium where Rudeš and Lokomotiv are going to be playing next season. That's going to be completely redesigned, if you like, renovated. It's going to be a 12,000 capacity stadium. And for those of you, speaking of Olympic Park, for those of you that have been to Zagreb, if you've walked outside the gates of Kranjčević Road Stadium, it actually brings back memories of walking outside the old Olympic Park days down on in Melbourne on Swan Street. It's just got that eerie feeling of a dilapidated stand that used to be Olympic Park. But it brings back some great memories. But there's talk that the construction will start in spring of next year, which is the first part of the year next year. And then hopefully the money and finances have already been secured through various sources, probably UEFA, HNS, the Soccer Federation, no doubt European Union. I think the least contributor will be the city of Zagreb and the Croatian government. But as long as it's being built, and then the plan is to bulldoze Maksimir and build a whole new, brand spanking new stadium on the site of Maksimir. So
finally,
yeah. And we've been talking about this for so many years, but hopefully now things will actually start to happen. So if that is the case, that is truly good news.
You saw my pictures. You saw my pictures earlier of Maksimir that looks exactly the same as it does today. That was 25 years ago. So it needs an upgrade. Just quickly, Tonchi, before we go, of course, Europa League, Rakitic won a trophy, so well done. Tomorrow morning, I know a lot of Croatians are West Ham fans, so good luck to West Ham, but Brekalo will try and break you guys with Fiorentina. And, of course, we've got the Champions League final with Inter Milan happening. I do believe it's on Sunday morning our time, and Brozovic will be trying to get that trophy. So it'll be great if we get the hat-trick of Croatians winning those trophies. So we'll see how we go.
Yeah, speaking of the UEFA Champions League, Josip Ziyech, he's currently over there in Turkey, in Istanbul, and I actually had the pleasure of having a quick interview or phone interview chat with Josip. He's involved with Euro Football Star, and that was part of our Game of Two Halves podcast, sister program of the Oz Cro Soccer Shows, which goes to air every Monday. And if you'd like to listen to that interview or watch that interview, go to the Geelong Region Soccer Show Facebook page or the YouTube channel. It's all there. Ante, we're going to take a break because our guest for tonight is in the green room. He's getting himself all pampered, all relaxed. He's having a shot of 2 of rakia just to calm any nerves that may be. But this man doesn't need any calming of his nerves. Tony Vidovich, the president of Canberra Croatia, he'll be joining us, and he's itching to tell us all that is happening in Canberra. There's a lot to talk about. Good. So, folks, don't go away. We really appreciate your presence tonight. And I do have to, before we go, I do have to say, Matt's reply, Hajduk, get it right, in capital letters. All right, we'll be back very, very shortly with our guest for tonight, Canberra Croatia President Tony Vidovich.
Welcome to Slavicek Studio Architecture. Our approach combines modern design with harmonious solutions tailored to your unique needs. We listen closely to your vision and turn it into a functional, beautiful living environment that truly feels like home. Our designs cater to your needs and evolve with you over time, encouraging deeper connections with family and friends. Specializing in custom residential homes and boutique apartments, we balance luxury and comfort to create a welcoming atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Discover a world of inviting and captivating design at www.slavicekstudio.com.au. Contact us for a journey from idea to reality. Slavicek Studio Architecture, turning your dreams into reality.
Oh, sorry. I was just singing alone.
Keep going. Don't stop.
Love that song. That's a great song.
Yeah, isn't it fantastic? Always sends a shiver down your spine, that's for sure. That was part of the Croatian Statehood Day celebrations in Canberra, straight after last Saturday's massive game between Canberra Croatia and Canberra Olympic. That Canberra Croatia won, and we're going to find out all about that with our next guest, the president of Canberra Croatia, Tony Vidovich, who joins us here on the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, pretty good, boys. How are yourself?
Oh, very good, mate. Very good. You know, we're celebrating Ante's birthday here, but mate, you're celebrating a lot more over there in the nation's capital. And tell us about Saturday and how it all went down.
Oh, look, it was one of those iconic soccer nights that you'd want to attend. The weather was perfect. There was no wind. It was, a bit chilly, but a typical soccer night. The stadium was packed. The atmosphere was electric. And what made it even more special was that our players actually turned it on for once this year. So that just put everybody in great spirits, and it was a big night after.
How
we've got
important
some photos
is this
there as well?
Absolutely. So how important is the Australia Cup for a club like Canberra Croatia to get onto the national stage?
Oh, look, our club's goal, our number one goal this year was was to qualify for the Australia Cup round of 32. When I came into this position 5 years ago, we stated then that our main aim was the Fed Cup. For a little club like us in Canberra, there's no exposure. There's no media exposure in Canberra. So the only way that you can get your club out there to everyone else in Australia and maybe in Croatia as well is when you do something like this. Like you saw Sydney United last year when they won it, it went worldwide, So this is massive. I mean, we love the championship. We won it last year, but we were in the Australia Cup in 2017 the last time. We know how hard in Canberra. We only get one spot in Canberra. It's so hard to qualify. And this year we did it the hardest way. Every time there was a draw, we got, the next top team below us. We played all the top teams in the league and we beat each and every one of them and qualified. And it's such a, I know the coaching staff and the players are a great achievement. The Suns so relieved that they've done it and celebrated hard on Saturday. Some kept celebrating on Sunday.
As they should.
It was a bit foggy, but Tuesday training was good. The boys were nice and they train again tomorrow. And we'll turn our attention back to the league where you showed the table there earlier. We're only we're sixth out of 8 or whatever it was, yeah. So we sort of played a game of poker. We put all in for the Fed Cup. We got that. So now the boys got to really turn it on. They showed everyone that they can turn it on. And in Canberra, it's only an 8-team competition. So we play each other 3 times, and we knew whatever happens in the first round, we've got 2 more rounds to go and can beat all the teams that have had the number on us. So we're going to go all out now and try and get high up on the ladder as we can.
Yeah, we saw the competition standings there, and as you said, it's an 8-team competition. Has there been talk? There's always talk everywhere about expansion, whether it's the A League, where it's the National Second Division, where it's NPL competition. Has there been talk in Canberra, about expanding it either to a 10-team competition, or is there just not enough talent? Is it just too diluted if you were to do that?
Yeah, look, it's much of a muchness in Canberra. You're going to disappoint the lower ranked teams, whichever way you go. But I think the big question in Canberra is whether we should be part of an NPL, because it's proving to be so expensive these days, and expensive for clubs to run, and also expensive for the juniors. For the young parents. When we're charging $1,700. I know Melbourne and Sydney is a lot more, but especially now with what's happening in the current economic environment, if it doesn't improve, a lot of things do. But most of the clubs in Canberra at the moment, we've been talking this year, and we're actually all leaning towards maybe we've got a NPL and a CPL, like a Div 2, that's got about 8 teams in there as well. So we're actually talking about maybe increasing the NPL to maybe 10 teams. You've got teams like Ugali from Western New South Wales. You've got Queanbeyan Macedonia. You've got White Eagles. These are all clubs that have big followings. So maybe bring them in and see what they can do. If we can improve the quality by playing a few extra games and not doing just the 8 teams for 3 rounds.
Yeah. And how does it go with having O'Connor in the same league as you guys? Is there a friendly rivalry? Does it improve? Like, do people get behind it, the community and all those sorts of things? Does it help or hinder you guys?
Oh, no, it's a big help. It's a big help. Anything that helps football is massive, and them coming on to the NPL scene has been huge. The locals call it the Chavapi Cup. So
love it.
And they've come from second division into first division, settled down, and they've got a great team, and they really push. Very rarely this year, I don't think they've had any big results, but against them, they've certainly achieved big results, and they push all the teams to the wire, and that's why they're so highly placed up on that ladder, up in 4th spot at the moment.
Yeah, the O'Connor Knights taking on Canberra Olympic. Wouldn't it be good if the poor old Gutitsi end up losing to a Croatian club two weeks in a row. And you guys have got Tuggeranong United as well. So a chance to really, really distance yourself from those bottom two there, Tony.
That program's been changed a bit. They've swapped a few of the games over to align with.
Oh, have they?
Yeah. So we're playing the Tigers, who were first or second, and I'm not actually 100% sure who O'Connor are playing.
Oh, there you go. So it's been shifted around a little bit. There you go. So where are you guys playing, at home or away against Tigers?
At the AIS, where the Tigers' home ground.
Okay. Oh, there you go. Great breaking news there.
Check the socials for all the latest games. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now, Tony, look, last week we had Adrian Portage on, Gold Coast Knights president, and we spoke about the national second division, and your club is another club, one of 4 Croatian clubs, and as Ante mentioned, the 4 clubs, if the Melbourne Knights get through, have all got through to the national stage of the Australia Cup. The national second division, what does it mean for you? How important is it for Canberra, Croatia, and where are we now with regards to that?
Yeah, look, so our soccer club, the Canberra Croatia Football Club, we strive to play in the best competition that we can. Is in the late 80s, we had a team in the New South Wales State League. There was a local Canberra team. They went broke. We took it over. We were in there for 6 years. We reached the finals 4 times in those 6 years. And then after the 6th year, the club voted that they didn't want us there anymore because probably we were just a bit more successful than they were. But I think in the bigger picture for our club, it's really important because we need to give our juniors a pathway, somewhere to aspire to. Our club's got some fantastic juniors, some really young kids that have had great coaching over the last 5 years that are really now starting to develop, mature, who are ready to take that next step. And for them to have something to aspire to like that, we'll really push them and drive them to be better and better and maybe get on that next stage that the B-League will give. I've got no doubt that the B-League, whichever way it's introduced, will be one of the most successful things that Football Australia do introduce. It'll just it'll be the shot in the arm, I think, that football in Australia. Where we're at with it at the moment, we actually had the Association of Australian Football Clubs, which we're a member of, and Sydney United and Melbourne Knights and all that are as well. We had a meeting on Monday. We're still waiting on Football Australia to release the paperwork of the request for process phase of what we need to do. We've had a board meeting. The boards, we've all said, yep, we're going to go ahead with it. We're going to, invest as much as we can, do what we need to do, and if we're good enough, let them tell us that we're good enough. And if we're not good enough, let them tell us, you're not good enough for it. And then, try and get better and improve that way. But yeah, so we're just waiting on the paperwork, which should be this week or next week, and we'll take it from there.
Have you heard any changes about the structure? Because initially they were talking about a 12 to 16 team competition, round robin during the winter.
Champions League.
Now they're talking about Champions League type of system. And so, yeah, it seems to be changing. And of course, you guys have to start planning for next year. So how long, will you guys need to plan?
Well, that's exactly right. A lot harder it is to plan. The structure, the AAFC has said, we're introducing this into the soccer culture and the thing here in Australia. So let's just have one competition of everybody. But Football Australia early on made a few noises of a Champions League style, North versus South, all this sort of stuff, which not really appeals. If we're going to do something, let's still build from it, for this round stuff. We can all control our finances as much as we can, and we know what we need to do and to survive. And let's give it 3 or 4 years, and let's see how we go, and just do it properly for once. Start from the bottom and work our way and build into it. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping that they do, but you just don't know.
And look, speaking of the finances, I guess clubs outside of the Melbourne, Sydney bubble, if you like, they would probably be subjected to a lot more costs, particularly things like travel and maybe relocation of players, etc., etc. Have you kind of done any feasibility study as to how much you'd expect an annual budget for Canberra, Croatia? That is, how much would that involve? Are we
Yeah,
talking $1, 2, 3, 5, $10 million? What are we talking about?
Football Australia have certainly done some sort of feasibility on some numbers, which we just blew everybody out of the water. But what they really realize is the clubs that they're promoting into the B League are NPL clubs. We've all been in the NPL environment for the last 10, 15, 20 years. So we can't, our finances aren't what they're probably going to tell us that they are, but we can certainly build and grow and get sponsorships over the years to increase. As for Canberra, I think we're a little bit different. We're centrally located to Sydney, Melbourne, just a little bit further from Brisbane. Are we going to compete for players like the Melbourne and Sydney clubs? No, I don't think that that's something that we could do with our finances, but certainly we can attract younger players and give them a go, to showcase their things. So the model that we'll do probably might be a bit different to some other clubs, but and the financing will be a lot different, I would suggest. And I think but the main thing is our locality will probably help us with the travel and those sort of expenses a fair bit.
I'll have a suggestion. I was going to say, Ante, if we're going to go for a compromise, and if we're going to go, if we are going to go down the model of having a Champions League, let's at least have the 4 Croatian clubs in one group. How good would that be? That would be brilliant, yeah. But
that's a mini tourney. That's a mini tourney before the tourney,
home and away, yeah, far out. Come on, the crowds. Could you imagine?
We can go to the Croatia and christen the new stadium for them, yeah.
Oh, that's so good. The final being played over there. I tell you what, that'll be good.
That'd be awesome.
Ante, you're going to say something.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I love when I walk into the Deakin Club and I see that, wall of honour, basically, and you've got Josip Šimanić there, of course, who was a junior at Canberra, Croatia. You have Ned Zelic, who, of course, was a junior there. I mean, and then you see people like Kofi Danning and all that sort of stuff. Have you got some players who potentially could reach those levels of those players?
Oh, yeah, we've got some, and don't forget Stephen Lustitzer's in there as well. So
another one.
They're in there. Yeah, we've got some really good players coming up. Just for an example, we've got our NPL 18s are made up of 15-year-olds. We had to get special permission for them to play in the 18 competition, and they're first or second on the ladder.
Wow! And how are they going? Oh, wow! That's excellent.
Yeah, they've got some great coaching. They've been together for a while. They know the coaches and the kids know what their limitations are. They do that every year, and they build. We've got a reserve grade team who's second, I think, or third on the ladder. Full of young kids. So it's really looking promising for our. We just have to try and give them something to want to stay at the club and work towards.
Yeah, no, that's an interesting.
Sorry, I was just going to say, you said you've been there for 5 years as president. Have the coaches and all those sorts of things been there for quite a while as well? Is that sort of environment that you're building at Canberra, Croatia?
That's right. That was one of the first things that we did, try and get good coaches and provide, coaches that have got their, B license. So they know what they're doing and they know how to deal with the kids. And we've had everyone that's been here over the last 5, 6, 7 years has been great. Some have moved on to other clubs, which, you can't keep everyone forever. Their kids grow and they move and that. But, yeah, it's been, top part of the first intake. And he's now at Melbourne Victory, doing really well down there. So, yeah, no, the coaches, that's what, my opinion, that's what gives you your success and your juniors. And developing your juniors is good coaching. That's one of the key ingredients that you need.
Yeah. Well, I'll give a shout out to 2 young Canberra Croatia boys, Kadel Zwangabani and Michael Pratezina. They've been selected via the Capital Football TSP Under-15 program to take part in a Football Australia talent development match. Football New South Wales alongside Football Australia will be hosting this talent development match on Wednesday, 7th of June with kickoff at 6 p.m. So that's happening actually tonight as we speak. So so some local boys getting some national recognition there as well. Now back to that national second division.
They're two young boys that play in the 18s team, and they're playing in the national. They were identified last year. Michael Pratezna actually went to the Vukovar Cup last year with the German diaspora team and played in there with the Rakic boys. So yeah, great, fantastic players.
Fantastic. There you go. And talking about the national second division, getting back to the national second division, I know there's talk that if you're in the national second division, then you have to give up an NPL spot, NPL license. Is there room? Is there scope, because Canberra being a regional area, and should Canberra Croatia come out, it almost makes the league unfeasible. Is there scope for Canberra to be able to field a youth team in the local NPL competition, or at least like create a sister club or something like that, in addition to O'Connor Knights?
Yeah, look, we will certainly have the players to do that. We've got no doubt about that, and that was one of the key areas that we identified early. We don't want to leave the local competition, and we've said that to our local federation as well, that this is our butter. You know, we've competed. We were formed in 1958 in the second division, and 1959 we went into the first division, and we've been in there ever since, you know, and we want to continue and having a team in there just for the local comp. We can't just neglect it like that, you know, and we won't have any problem fielding a team in that comp. We've actually got the coaching structure we've got now. There's already an agreement where one will just coach the local Canberra team, and the other one, you know, should he want to, will go up to the B League. So, you know, it's that's one of the key things that we'll be negotiating with the Football Australia.
Makes perfect sense, yeah.
But the problem is there'll be no promotion for a long time. But if you get relegated, you get relegated back into your local. Yeah, which won't be a problem. We'll just relegate the big boys back into third grade and leave.
Yeah. Well, hopefully all four Croatian clubs can get there, and there is no relegation, rather a just continuous promotion and what you're not. But Tony, thanks so much for your contribution this week. We really appreciate it. Ante, did you have any? I got to let the birthday boy have the last say. Have you got any questions for Tony?
No, not really. I just want to say, is it true that Ricky Stewart comes to the Deakin Club for a drink on his off between training sessions? I've heard that's true.
Oh, look, we don't disclose. We're a really boutique club, and we have some real influential people that come there, and we don't give out that sort of information. But you could probably draw from that what you like.
On that note, the old "what happens on tour stays on tour" adage here. Tony, thank you so much for joining us, and we'd love to get you on a little bit later on in the show. Big shout out to all our Canberra viewers who are tuning in for the first time today. Hopefully you guys will stay on and watch us each week. But we wish you all the very best for the competition in the NPL, as well as whatever happens with the national second division. And you're heading to warmer climates very soon, so safe travels as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for having me, boys, and Ante, have a good birthday.
All the best. Thank you so much, Tony. Really appreciate it.
Good on you. That was Tony Vidovic, the president of Canberra Croatia. Ante, how did you end up celebrating your birthday? Or have you celebrated, or are you leaving it for the weekend?
Mate, I'll tell you how I was hoping to celebrate because I was watching St. Albans versus Heidelberg. So that's what I was doing last night, let me tell you. But of course, I didn't get the victory.
No,
and then after
right.
that, I watched the young Socceroos, the Olyroos. Of course, we had Noah Bortic and we had Belokovic as well playing in the side as well. Nicholas, exactly. So fantastic.
Sounds like an ideal birthday to just celebrate it in soccer style. Folks, don't go away. We're going to finish up very, very shortly. And when we return, we've also got some spine-tingling atmosphere or footage of atmosphere of a game in Croatia. You do not want to miss this. This is certainly worth hanging around for. So it is the Oz Cro Soccer Show, episode 40, with birthday boy Ante and myself, Tonchi. We'll be back shortly after these short messages.
Laku noć.
Welcome back to the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Now, Ante, we talked about HNK Zadar, who is involved in the Druga Liga or League 2 promotion playoffs, and they'll be coming up against Karlovac. Once upon a time, a club that played in the Croatian Premier League. And they really say Zadar is a city of basketball. You know, it is just basketball fanatics, and soccer plays are kind of like a second fiddle, if you like. But well, this footage, we're going to leave you with this. It's not exactly soccer, but it is basketball. But it's footage from the Višnjik Stadium. 9,000 crazy white-clad Zadar fans celebrated Zadar taking out the Croatian Premier League basketball championships, defeating Košarkaški Klub Split. We're going to leave you with this great atmosphere, spine-tingling stuff. Hopefully, we can also, not in the not too distant future. Go on.
Yeah.
Go on.
I just wanted to say, of course, today is the 30-year anniversary of Dražen Petrovic's death as well.
Yes,
and he was probably the greatest Croatian basketballer of all time. Unfortunately, passed away way too young. And, of course, who will ever forget that 1992 team that took on the Dream Team in that final of the gold medal final in the Olympics? And, yeah, Dražen Petrovic, still to this day known as one of the best imports, if not the best imports in the NBA. So,
yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. On that note, Laku Noć, folks. Good night, and join us again next week for the Oz Cro Soccer Show. Bye-bye.